Balkan weather. Even Balkan spring weather was not pleasant to General von Grün, leaning heavily back behind the bulletproof glass of his car. May 4th. The English would call it St. George's Day after their saint who was helping them so little. The date would mean something to Heinrich Himmler too. That weak-chinned pet of the Führer would hold some sort of garbled druidic ritual with his Schutzstaffel on the Brockenberg. Von Grün grimaced fatly at thought of Himmler and leaned forward to look out into the night. An armed car ahead, an armed car behind. All was well. "Forward!" he growled to his orderly Kranz, who trod on the accelerator. The car moved and the car ahead took the lead into the Borgo Pass. Von Grün glanced backward once to the lights of Bistritz. This country had been Romanian not so long ago. Now it was Hungarian, which meant that it was German. What was it that the mayor of Bistritz had said when he had demanded a semi-remote headquarters? The castle along this pass empty, ready for him. The dolt had seemed eager to help, to please. Von Grün produced a long cigarette. Young Captain Plesser, sitting beside him, at once kindled a lighter. Slim, quiet, the young aide had faded from Von Grün's consciousness. "What's the name of that castle again?" inquired the general, and made a grimace when Plesser replied in barbarous Slavic syllables. "What's the meaning in a civilized tongue?"
"Devil's Castle, I should think,"
hazarded the captain's respectful voice. "Ah, so. Transylvania is supposed to be overrun with devils," nodded Von Grün, puffing. "Let them defer to us or we'll devil them." He smiled, for his was a great gift for appreciating his own epigrams. "Meanwhile, let the castle be called its German name, Teufelstoss, Devil's Castle." "Of course," agreed Plesser. Silence for a while as the cars purred powerfully up the rough slope of the pass trail. Von Grün lost himself in his favorite meditation, his own assured future. He was to establish an unostentatious command post for what? A move against Russia? The Black Sea? He would know soon enough. In any case, an army would be his, action and glory. There was glory enough for all. Von Grün remembered Wilhelm II saying that in the last war. "The last war," he said aloud. "I was a simple Oberleutnant then, and the Führer a corporal. What were you, Captain?"
"A child."
"You remember?"
"Nothing."
Plesser screwed up his courage to a question.
"General von Grün, does it not seem strange that the folk at Bistritz were so anxious for you to come to the castle Teufelstoss tonight?"
Von Grün nodded like a big, fierce owl. "You smell a trap, nicht wahr? That is why I bring 2 carloads of men, my trusted bodyguard, for that very chance. But I doubt if any in Transylvania dare set traps for me or any other German." The cars were slowing down. General and captain leaned forward. The car ahead was passing through the great open gateway of a courtyard. Against the spattered stars rose the silhouette of a vast black building with a broken tower.
"We seem to be here,"
ventured Captain Plesser. "Good. Go to the forward car. When the other arrives, form the guard." It was done swiftly. 16 Stark infantrymen were marshaled with rifles, bombs, and submachine guns. Von Grün emerged into the cold night, and Kranz the orderly began to bring out the luggage. "A natural fort, withdrawn and good for any defense, except against aircraft," pronounced the general, peering through his monocle at the battlements above. "We will make a thorough examination. Unterofficer!" he barked, and the non-com in charge of the escort came forward woodenly, stiffening to attention. 6 of the men will accompany me inside. You will bivouac the others in this courtyard, maintaining a guard all night. Heil Hitler!" "Heil Hitler!" responded the man briskly. Von Grün smiled as the Unterofficer strode away to obey. For all the soldierly alacrity, that order to sleep outdoors was no welcome one. So much the better. Von Grün believed in toughening experiences for field soldiers, and his escort had lived too softly since the Battle of Flanders. He walked to where a sort of vestibule of massive rough stone projected from the castle wall. Plesser already stood there, staring at the heavy nail-studded planks of the door.
"It is locked, Herr General," he reported. "No knob or latch, bell or knocker." But as he spoke,
The door swung creakingly inward, and yellow light gushed out. On the threshold stood a figure in black, as tall as von Grun himself, but thinner than even Plesser. A pale, sharp face and brilliant eyes turned upon them in the light of a chimneyless oil lamp of silver. "Welcome, General von Grun," said the lamp holder. "You are expected." His German was good, his manner respectful. Von Grun's broad hand slid into a greatcoat pocket where he always carried a big automatic pistol. "Who told you to expect us?" he demanded. The lamplight struck blue radiance from smooth, sparse black hair as the thin man bowed. Who could mistake General von Grun or doubt that he would want this spacious, withdrawn structure for his new headquarters position? The mayor of Bistritz, officious ass, must have sent this fellow ahead to make fawning preparations. But even as von Grun thought that, the man himself gave other information. "I am in charge here, have been in charge for many years. We are so honored to have company. Will the general enter?" He stepped back. Plesser entered, then von Grun. The vestibule was warm. "This way, Excellency," said the man with the lamp. The steward, von Grun decided to classify him. He led the way along a stone-paved passage, von Grun's escort tramping authoritatively after him. Then up a great winding stair and into a room, a big hall of a place, with a fire of logs and a table set for supper. All told, very inviting, but it was not von Grun's way to say as much. He only nodded and allowed Captain Plesser to help him out of his greatcoat. Meanwhile, the steward was showing the luggage-laden Kranz into an octagonal bedroom beyond. "Take these 6 men," said von Grun to Plesser, indicating the soldiers of the escort, "towards the castle. Make a plan of each floor, then come back and report. Heil Hitler."
Heil Hitler!
And Plesser led the party away. Von Grun turned his broad back to the fire. Kranz was busy with the bedroom, arranging things. The steward returned. "May I serve the Herr General?" he asked silkily. Von Grun looked at the table and with difficulty forbore to lick his fat lips. There were great slices of roast beef, a fowl, cheese, salad, and 2 bottles of wine. Kranz himself could not have guessed better what would be good. Von Grun almost started forward to the table, then paused. This was Transylvania. The natives, for all their supple courtesy, disliked and feared soldiers of the Reich. Might these good things not be poisoned? "Remove these things," he said bleakly. "I have brought my own provisions. You may eat that supper yourself." Another bow. "The Herr General is too good, but I will sup at midnight. It is not long. Now I will clear the things away. Your man will fetch what you want." He began to gather up dishes. Watching him stoop over the table, von Grun thought that he had seldom seen anyone so narrow in the shoulders. They were humped high like the shoulders of a hyena, suggesting a power that crouched and lurked. Von Grun was obliged to tell himself that he was not repelled or nervous. The steward was a stranger, a Slav of some kind. It was von Grun's business to be scornful of all such. "Now," he said when all was cleared, "go to the bedroom and tell my orderly—" He broke off. What was that? The other listened. Von Grun could have sworn that the man's ears, pale and pointed, lifted voluntarily, like the ears of a cat or a fox. The sound came again, a prolonged howl in the distance. "The wolves," came the quiet reply. "They speak to the full moon." Wolves! The general was intrigued at once. He was a sportsman. That is, he liked to corner and kill beasts almost as much as he liked to corner and kill men. As a guest of Hermann Göring, he had shot 2 very expensive wild bulls, and he yearned for the day when the Fuhrer would graciously invite him to the Black Forest for pig-sticking. "Are there many?" he asked. "It sounds like many. If they were not so far, they come nearer," his companion said, and indeed the howl was repeated more strongly and clearly. "But you gave an order, General." "Oh, yes." Von Grun remembered his hunger. "My man will bring me supper from among the things we have with us." A bow, and the slender black figure moved noiselessly into the bedroom. Von Grun crossed the floor and seated himself in an armchair before the table. The steward returned and stood at his elbow. "Pardon, your orderly helped me carry the other food to the castle kitchen. He has not returned, and so I took the liberty of serving you." He had a tray. Upon it were delicacies from von Grun's mess chest, slices of smoked turkey, buttered bread, preserved fruits, bottled beer. The fellow had arranged them himself, had had every opportunity to... Von Grun scowled and took the monocle from his eye. The danger of poison again stirred in his mind, and he had difficulty scorning it. He must eat and drink, in defiance of fear. Poison or no poison, the food was splendid, and the steward an excellent waiter. The general drank beer and deigned to say, "You are an experienced servant." The pale, sharp face twitched sidewise in negation. "I serve very few guests. The last was years ago. Jonathan Harker, an Englishman." Von Grun snorted away mention of that unwelcome people and finished his repast. Then he rose and stared around. The wolves howled again, in several directions and close to the castle. "I seem to be deserted," he said grimly. "The captain is late, my orderly late, my men make no report." He stepped to the door, opened it. "Plesser!" he called. "Captain Plesser!" No reply. "Shall I bring you to him?" asked the steward gently. Once again he had come up close. Von Grun started violently and wheeled. The eyes of the steward were on a level with his and very close. For the first time Von Grun saw that they were filled with green light. The steward was smiling too, and Von Grun saw his teeth, white, spaced widely, pointed. As if signaled by the thought, the howling of the beasts outside broke out afresh. It was deafeningly close. To Von Grun it sounded like hundreds. Then in reply came a shout, the voice of the Unterofficer uttering a quick, startled command. At once, a shot, several shots. The men he had encamped in the courtyard were shooting at something. With ponderous haste, Von Grun hurried from the room, down the stairs. As he reached the passageway below, he heard more shots and a wild, air-rending chorus of howls, growls, spitting scuffles. Von Grun gained the door by which he had entered. Something moved in the gloom at his very feet. A chalky face turned up, the face of Captain Plesser. A hand lifted shakily to clutch at the general's boot top.
"Back in the dark rooms."
It was half a choke, half a sigh.
"The devils! Hungry! They got the others, got me! I could come no farther than this!"
Plesser collapsed. Light came from behind Von Grun, and he could see the captain's head sagging backward on the stone. The side of the slender neck had been torn open, but blood did not come, for there was no blood left in Captain Plesser's body. Outside there was sudden silence. Stepping across Plesser's body, the general seized the latch and pushed the door open. The courtyard was full of wolves, feeding. One glance was enough to show what they fed on. As Von Grun stared, the wolves lifted their heads and stared back. He saw many green glowing eyes, level, hard, hungry, many grinning mouths with pointed teeth. The eyes and the teeth of the steward. He got the door shut again and sagged upon it, breathing hard. "I am sorry, General," came a soft, teasing apology. "Sorry. My servants were too eager within and without. Wolves and vampires are hard to restrain. After all, it is midnight, our moment of all moments." "What are you raving about?" gasped Von Grun, feeling his jaw sag. "I do not rave. I tell simple truth. My castle has vampires within, wolves without. All my followers and friends." Von Grun felt for a weapon. His greatcoat was upstairs, the pistol in its pocket. "Who are you?" he screamed. "I am Count Dracula of Transylvania," replied the gaunt man in black. He set down the lamp carefully before moving forward.
Sorry for rushing the Halloween season.
That's right, my friends. It is all Halloween content from now until November. This is going to be great. In the meantime, thank you so much to all of my amazing Patreon people who make these videos possible. Thank you especially to Michael Fattori, Break System BSE, and Xana Zira for their extremely generous support. And thank you for being you.